Hello again, and welcome to the Royal Enfield show of sorts. Today I'm actually doing an unboxing, which I know, who cares really, but it's kind of exciting because I have been trying to get a good sound while riding on the motorcycle through the helmet for a while, and I do this for a living for corporate videos and whatnot, so I have already had some external audio devices and field recorders on hand to give a try, and I was hoping one of those would be ideal. And none of them really were. And of course, I looked on YouTube and other places and found items like the Purple Panda mic and whatnot, which some people said was fantastic and some people said wasn't so hot and, relatively inexpensive. But, I don't know. I wasn't sure what to do. So I thought, well, what do I love about my current recorders? And one of them is the Zoom H2N, which I've had for years and still works wonderfully. This field recorder I have used thousands of times, and it's crystal clear recording. It's really insane. Mounted is perfect when you're doing corporate videos or whatnot. On the motorcycle, it's a little cumbersome, obviously. So I would not use this as such, but I would plug an external mic into it. And I tried using this Rode wireless setup, so I would plug the receiver in and have this recording and locked into place, but it was in my pocket. It was very bulky, and the recordings were okay, but for whatever reason, they would cut out at a certain time. So I get like 30 seconds, maybe a minute of ride time in, and then no vocal. So, and that's even with it locked. So I don't know if it was something getting pushed on the road or whatnot. I mean, the road, R-O-D-E. But regardless, I was like, this really isn't working. So I did love these Rode mics. As a matter of fact, I just did a video for some folks that are pitching a new show on Travel Channel. So some friends of mine that I've worked with in the past, done some photos for and video, and they have a new show that they're pitching. So we went to an undisclosed location in Niagara Falls, New York, and up into the top floor of this building, set up some lights, and literally did some guerrilla tactics recording with just that iPhone, it was iPhone 13 Plus, or Pro, sorry, and these Rode mics. And I was astounded at how good the quality was when it was done. So I used these Rode mics, and I actually had them clipped to their backs, but it wasn't as reverby as it is in here. So for me, I'm using mine, and it's just hooked here. And this is transmitting to the receiver that is actually hooked into my iPhone. And I had to use a connector, a special connector for the iPhone for the audio to actually work, otherwise it wouldn't. But I can give you more details on that if you're interested, just like message in the comments or something, and I'll post about that. But that's not the point of this video. So regardless, the Rode hooked into the iPhone, riding around, I would clip this to my strap on my helmet, and it worked really good. It worked really great, actually, when you had the dead cat on it, of course. But the problem is that either the iPhone would time out, or I'd bump it somehow, or for whatever reason, a button would get pushed inadvertently, and every single time I tried to record with that, as such, it failed at a certain point, whether it was, again, 30 seconds or a couple of minutes, but I never got a full ride in, which is fine, because you don't have to listen to me yammer as much. But since I like to yammer, I had to figure this out. So again, the Rode mic works great even with full face helmet, but I needed something else to be the receiver for it. As a matter of fact, this one worked well that way too, but I have the GoPro Hero 9, and I bought the media mod for it. And again, I use all these things for my day job anyways, so, it's not like I'm going out and just like experimenting. It's like all these are basically tools that I have to use anyways. So this GoPro media mod slides right over the Hero 9, and they may make, I think this one fits the 10 as well. And it works amazingly well. So I would mount this to a chest mount, and when I'm riding with an open-faced helmet, you could hear me speak, and you could hear the bike perfectly. You just, the thumper sound is constant in the background. You could hear my voice totally nice, loud and clear. even in heavy wind. Occasionally you'd get a little bit of a pick of wind, but really this works great. If you're using an open face helmet and you want a chest mount, then this is a really awesome, hard to beat option. It doesn't seem like it would be, and you know, some of the earlier videos that I posted, I actually did just that, so you can hear the sound on it. And that's that. So closed face helmet, not so good. And typically, occasionally, if it's hot and we're just going down into town, going to get some coffee, or just zipping around on some back roads where we know typically nobody is, you know, we might go open face and just enjoy the wind and try not to eat too many bugs, and just get that real free feeling, because we do enjoy that. But typically we're using a full face helmet, and this doesn't work great with the full face helmet. You still get wonderful audio from the bike, but you can't really hear me at all, and if you can, it's kind of muffled. So maybe in combination, if you're using this on a chest mount to get that perspective and the audio from the bike, and then used a mic in the helmet to just get the speaking, and then you could have clear audio in both channels that you could separate, so that you don't have to have them over each other. You can have them separate. So anyways, my point was, if you have an open face, this works well. If you have a closed face, got to figure out the internal system. I know there's a whole bunch of videos online, and you know, lots of people have done research on it, and a lot of people have suggested the Purple Panda for an inside mic, and definitely do your own research. This is just what I found in working with stuff. So the thing about the one that I just mentioned is that some people were talking about how much they loved it and how much it was inexpensive, and then other people were like, not so great, and it's gone up in price, and I really can't attest to it because I have not tried it personally, but it might be a great option for some people, I don't know. But since I do this for a living, I went ahead and ordered another Zoom that I believe is a new version of a field mic with a lavalier setup, and it came in today. So I'm going to open this up and show you what I got. Got that. So there it is, the Zoom F2. The Zoom F2 field recorder. Now, I don't really usually buy things that pop up on my Facebook and whatnot as you know, advertisements. I work in advertising, and I can't stand advertising. As a matter of fact, my favorite thing to do on Facebook, when I do go on, is just to hide every single ad I see and mark it as irrelevant. So, but that's me, and I'm kind of vindictive. Anyways, the Zoom F2 field recorder. I'm not really vindictive, I'm just kidding.
It's packaged in here very well. Help! Hang on, just gonna open this up a little bit more.
It was very secure. And here we have some documentation. A lot of documentation. And we've got the box here. Inside the box we have, of course, this field recorder, which is very small. So this should be awesome for shoving in a pocket. And the thing about it is that you can lock it. Once you get your settings in place, you can lock it and forget about it. And we've got two little packages here. Here we got the clip and some muffs for the top. I wonder if you can get dead cats for these, or if I could use these Rode ones. No, I probably can't use those. And then here, this must be the actual cable. Yep. So, and it comes with two batteries. Two AAA batteries. So, I don't believe this is chargeable from a computer or any device of that nature. But I'll have to look into that. And if it is, I'll note it in the description down below once I get dug into this completely. But two AAA batteries, F2 field recorder. There is an F2B that is, this is around 150 bucks, 159 I think maybe, on discount, on sale right now, because I believe they're new. And the B is Bluetooth enabled, so you can manage it through the app on a phone and stuff like that. But you know, I'm so sick of apps and having to do stuff. And as a matter of fact, we just picked up a Cardo system, the Freecom 2 from Revzilla, so Kelly and I could talk while we're riding. And we've had like 2 days of super frustration trying to get it to work on the intercom setting. And then after all that time, I thought geniusly, why don't I try putting a different mic on, because it comes with one option for open face. So I swapped the mic out and magically it worked. So I don't know, it took me a long time to think of that, but it was a holiday weekend and there was a lot of vodka involved. Anyways, never while riding, of course. So I called Revzilla and we literally just got it in last week, like a couple of days, like maybe Thursday. And they were awesome and they took care of everything. They are sending me a brand new mic setup. So all I got to do is take the one that wasn't working, throw it back in that box, give them a call. They'll send me a shipping label to send it back, and should be all good at that point. Yeah, the Cardo's cool. Like when it works right, I must be not the smartest bulb in the package when it comes to it, because I feel like I've watched the videos and looked at the documentation a whole bunch of times, and just to get the intercom to work, it is constantly telling me rider not available, rider is not available, but we do exactly what it says over and over. And then occasionally you do it and it works. And I don't know what magic I do at that point, but I have some capability of learning, so I'm going to hopefully within the next year figure that out. Anyways, I'm going to get this Zoom F2 set up, batteries in, and I'm going to take it out for a test ride with the full face helmet, and the rest of this video, for the ride portion at least, will be recorded with this, and maybe the other one. You know, I'll hook it up and we'll see how it goes. So stay tuned. Okay, so this is going to be a test of the new Zoom mic. I've got the visor open right at the moment, but I'm about to close it and take off. I'm just going to go take a quick trip, get some gas. So I've got the GoPro so that I can hear my engine, and I've got the lav mic set up so I can try to talk and annoy people. Visor down. Visor is down. Taking off. Alright, so I'll just do a little bit of talking so that I can see how this mic sounds. It is a 32-bit float system, so technically it should not be too loud, it should not be too boomy, but of course with the mic down, not sure how that, or with the shield down, I'm not sure exactly how it's going to sound until I check it out in a little bit. I'm hopeful, but of course in my helmet with the visor down right now, it sounds very boomy, just intracranially, so I can't imagine it's picking up too much of the wind noise. I do have the vents open on the helmet because it's pretty toasty out, but you know, so I do need gas. Maybe I'll zip quick to the gas station, get some gas. It has been a little gloomy lately. Last couple of days we've been in a really great spot with weather lately, so I definitely can't complain. We've been able to get out even on days like this. It's been kind of nice because there is enough cloud cover to keep it cool, but at the same time it seems to only be raining heavy at night, so got my daughter over there walking in some sort of a giraffe costume apparently. All right. Going through our little village. I'm just going to gas up a little bit, and then I will go and maybe hit up a little bit of speed down a back road. That was my other daughter. So, here we are again. Here we are again on my own. I suppose I should give this thing a trial and actually talk really loud and see how that 32-bit float works in contrast to when I talk really quiet. I feel like when I talk really quiet, it's really quiet. This helmet smells, by the way. Like I said, we had some toasty weather over the weekend, and maybe it's me. Maybe it is not the helmet at all. No, it's definitely the helmet. I'll figure it out eventually. Hello, fellow biker. Whatever. Passing the high school. Man, I love a full tank of gas. Nice, fresh, full tank on the beast. Should get another 150 to 100 and some odd miles out of it. Alright, we'll just open her up just a little bit. We's in the 45 section here, so I can talk a little bit about the handling on this here beautiful bike. It's fun, like crazy fun. Totally takes me back to when I was 16 and had my Yamaha Heritage 650. This is only a 350, and in many cases I thought this is all I really need. And like I said before, we do live in a bunch of hills around this area, so there are definitely times where I wish I had a little bit more power. I was dramatic on that. I kind of lifted off the pegs a little bit. So, just so you know. But anyways, yeah, just have a little bit extra power to get up hills. But 95% of the time, I got everything I need. And as I mentioned, I'm about 5'7", in the upper 200s, but I'm working on it. I was actually quite a bit heavier within the last couple of years. Little history on me, I was pretty much normal, 165 pounds of pure muscle for years. And then I got a horrible desk job. Well, it wasn't horrible. I work in the design field, so it was definitely a lot of illustration and layout work, emails. I spent 10 years being a designer for Fisher-Price. They were a client of mine, and they would design toys, and I would photograph some of them or video them and create animations for the website, and lots of advertising bits and pieces. So, a lot of fun. But sitting at the desk kind of sucked. And nowadays, I actually do this similar, but a more dedicated video and photo. I still do email stuff and whatnot. And I work from home, so instead of taking coffee breaks, I take bike breaks to get coffee whenever I have the chance. And as I mentioned, because of what I do for a living, I have to purchase equipment, so I'm always looking for reasonably priced, decent equipment to use. And as far as this microphone goes, I was enamored with my Zoom H2N,
that I've had for a very long time. I mean, maybe for a microphone, 6-7 years, maybe longer. And it has never missed a beat. It has always worked awesome. It records crystal clear. It is a great field mic, and I usually use it as a second when I'm on location with a client. So I'll have that perched on a tripod or something, or even hanging off the side of the camera, and then I'll use some shotgun mics with the camera, and occasionally a lav as well. Woohoo! This is total roller coaster road. It's awesome. It's probably not, you can't really tell, but there's that stomach drop when you hit those, even on this low 350. So going totally uphill again. I think I was on this road in probably the last video, but it's a good road to experiment on with some new equipment, just because it's fairly straight and real hilly and bouncy and a lot of fun. But you know, hitting around 60, I think I maxed out at 65 a little earlier. Since I'm still under 1,000 miles on this bike, where am I at? I'm around 450 or 500. Oh, 650. I'm at the 650 mile mark with this. So I'm still not trying to ride it completely open. Just, ooh, look at that. Actually, it's probably a good idea that I turn my head once in a while, just to see what the wind's like on this mic. But gorgeous. Man, I love living out here. I used to tour in a band for years, a punk rock band called the Pavers. We've gone all over the United States, been up into Canada, we've been all over Europe and whatnot. Band went to Japan and stuff. It was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful several years of experience. And you can go check it out on YouTube if you want. Just Google the Pavers and you'll see pictures of me when I was in better shape playing guitar. But we still actually play together, just not as much. What was my point? I don't know. Oh, my point was that I've been to so many places around the globe, and so many absolutely wonderful places that I said, man, I want to live here, man, I want to live here, man, I want to live here. And Springville, New York is not one of them, but it has become one of them. Kelly and I were lucky enough to get a house in a housing market that is insane, and we love it. And it's just a delight living here. It's literally like the kind of town where everybody knows you. There's those marshmallows again. I talked about that in the last video. Passing the marshmallow farm again. There they are, full size. Don't put that in your cocoa, or do. I'm not telling you what to do. Look at them clouds. Oh, what was I saying? Yeah. So I'm trying to talk really loud. I'm trying to talk a little quieter. Sometimes I'm talking a little quieter. I just want to see what this is going to end up being in the scheme of things, while I kind of enjoy riding around. But everywhere I go in my little town, everybody literally knows you. You walk into the coffee house, you get several people saying hello. Walk down the street, you get several people saying hello. Kelly and I are both part of the fire department here, so we've met a ton of people through that. And as a matter of fact, I met a lot of people in outlying departments as well, especially through like instructions and classes and such. Anyway, so you probably noticed I was cruising along at 60. Again, I'm not open full throttle because I just still am in the wear-in phase, I believe, if there is one. But right now I'm just about full throttle, 65. See the cornfields? They're starting to get, they're not getting high yet, but I'll turn around up here and zip back this same way just because it's a lot of fun. And it's a quiet road right now because I basically took off at rush hour. So again, in doing some research about this mic setup, this field recorder, it has, I mentioned earlier in my unboxing that it's new, but it is not new. It's newer. It came out a couple of years ago. There's been a couple iterations of the processor, I guess, whatever. You know, when you update, reformat and stuff. What are we doing here? Alright, so I'm gonna just kind of zip over here, make sure nobody's coming, go back this way, stop real quick because there is a car coming. Updating the firmware, that's what I was trying to talk about. Yeah. Anyway, this 32-bit float thing is supposed to be a plug-and-play situation. You don't have to worry about volume or peaks or valleys. Supposedly, it is going to manage all that for you. And from what I understand, it's essentially to audio what raw image capture is to photography. So it kind of, or video, so it kind of pulls the whole spectrum, does what it needs to manage the audio levels on its own. But when you go into an editing suite, you should have the full body of audio there to do what you want to with. I guess it's not great for line-in situations, but this is just a mic'd up mic inside the helmet, and I have the cord running out the helmet and connected to the audio device that is in my inside pocket. There's a mouse. See it? Scurried right across the road. Good thing he made it. As far as this bike and how it handles and how it, like I said before, very, very fun. Cruising along at just around 65, that seems to be its peak for me, between 65 and probably 70 if I'm going downhill and not opening the throttle. But it is at its highest setting for the rear suspension, just because I'm heavier. And it does have a little bit of bounce to it in certain situations, but all in all, a very comfortable ride. The seat seems to be getting better as I ride. So, for example, the first day I rode it home, it was maybe about 40 miles. And I was so excited and amped up, I don't think I would have even noticed if the seat hurt my butt at all. The very next day, I took it out again, and I went down. I probably drove another 40-50 miles, and I was starting to have a little fatigue in my hindquarters. But I've been out, obviously, for over 650 miles at this point, and many of the times I've gone out, and maybe it's just because of the shorter duration rides, but I've had absolutely no discomfort whatsoever on the rear. Marshmallows. How's it sound if I sing? Sucks for you, but testing the mic, right? Let me test the mic. I can't sing anyway, so I'm just gonna stop. Sorry. I apologize. Yeah. So, things that I would maybe adjust on the bike eventually. I've done a few things, moderate things. I put the springs under the seat. I took the back pillion pad off. You may have seen the video where I took the pinstripes off of the rims, so I really didn't love them. And I took the stickers off of the side covers. I just like the classic muted black without the red shock of the sticker in between it. like I said before, I didn't dislike it, but it's just not particularly my style, and it was such a simple change I could make to make it more my style. However, when I took the side panel stickers off, and I knew this was going to happen because I researched it prior to doing it, but it did leave an indentation the same shape as the sticker. So you'll notice that I'm heading up a pretty steep hill right now, and I'm losing altitude. I'm down to about 50. I was cruising around at 60, and I could downshift, get a little bit more power, but we're just about at the peak. Or are we? So we still got a little bit more, not as much of a grade as we just had, and it's actually climbing back up. So now we're over 50 again. One thing I noticed at night driving around on this is that the headlamp is very dim compared to other bikes that I've had, which, you know, whatever. I could always replace that bulb down the road. And it has the hood on the light, which looks really cool, but does also cause like a shadow effect that is a very distinct demarcation line of where the light is and where it is not. So where I'm used to like kind of being able to see fairly decent on the motorcycle, this one has the field of view on the light is much smaller. But like I said, I can most likely tilt that up. I think the only thing you can do with these lights, and I may be wrong, but I thought I read that you could tilt it up. You can adjust the vertical slightly, so I might do that just to get a little bit more of that on the road. And other than that, I may upgrade the lamp at some point. What else? I don't know. Looking forward to doing some simple maintenance stuff, checking the chain tension, and eventually an oil change. And Kelly's bike is, you know, she loves it too, and I love it too. It's a really comfortable bike. It's the Meteor 350. And she's going to be doing all her own work on that bike as far as like, we'll take it in for the first. You know, I want to support the dealership, of course, that we got it from. So everybody's struggling right now. The margin on selling a motorcycle is insanely small. And if you want to hear more about that, I think Fortnite has a video that goes into a bit of detail about how little dealerships make and how the manufacturers kind of have a stranglehold on the whole situation. I didn't realize that they're basically leasing the bikes from the dealership until they sell. Or at least some of them. Maybe that's not how they all work, but it just made it seem like the profit margin on motorcycles isn't so great, and really they rely on service and, you know, coming back in for oil changes and such to kind of help pay the bills. But I'm not a motorcycle mechanic. Sure, basic stuff, no worries, but I'll take it in for the first shot and have them go over it. The Meteor is doing one odd thing, which I'll tell you about in a second. So when the first day I drove the Meteor home, again, about 40 miles, and on these same back roads, and I had it in 5th gear, cruising along just fine, got into the 50, 55 mile an hour range, and it started to buck a little bit, and hesitate. Not necessarily buck, I guess it was more of a hesitation, but it did it repeatedly, and it kind of aggravated me because I literally just pulled it off the lot. So I did some research on that, and I had not found anything on it, so I thought, well, you know, maybe it's a fluke, something that just, you know, maybe some moisture or whatnot that just needed to be purged. And we were driving around yesterday and going up some of the steeper hills on the other side of town. Kelly mentioned that it was hesitating going up the hill, so she was having trouble keeping up with me just because of that hesitation. So I'm going to take it out again on my own and see what that is. And she's probably around the 260 mile an hour range with that bike, so we're gonna have to make an appointment at some point, you know, to get the oil changed, the first oil change, and get the first inspection done, just so in case they need to make any minute changes. But I certainly hope there's no weirdness going on. I've read a bunch of comments about relay issues and you know, people using too much lithium and such on connections, and I don't know. We'll see. You know, part of me is like, not that these bikes are cheap, but I mean, they are really reasonably priced, and we're going to fine-tune them anyways. So I feel like part of it is getting a base model at a base price that might need a few tweaks. And it's not that I'm okay with getting something from the dealership that is, you know, may have an issue right off the bat, but there is the 3-year warranty, so hopefully if anything is actually wrong, it will be covered by warranty. But the motors are great on these bikes. They have tons of excellent reviews. Even people like the folks at Yami Noob, who are always bagging on Royal Enfield, which is hilarious. That is a hilarious motorcycle YouTube. We watch it all the time. But they took out the 650 twin Interceptor, and they took out the GT, and they had a blast seemingly with each. The Interceptor they enjoyed much more than the GT, and I haven't ridden one, so I'm looking forward to doing that. As a matter of fact, the dealership contacted me because they know we do this YouTube, and asked me if I would come out and do a review on the Himalayan. I always called it the Himalayan, and I was told that it is actually the Himalayan. So that's what it'll be. But I'm looking forward to that. I just need some time to get out there. I asked if I could take it for a weekend so I could take it to Allegheny State Park and kind of go up. At that park there are some really steep hills, and a lot of it is some of it is stone. Like if you go up to Thunder Rocks, there's these huge glacial deposits that are rocks, single solitary rocks that are like 30 feet high and or higher, and you can climb them and stuff. But to get up there, you got to go up stone roads, like just like barely paved with stone. Might not be the greatest thing for a motorcycle, but super fun for me. But an adventure bike like that, that's what it's made for. But you know, maybe they don't want to get it dinged up. We'll see. So there you have it, the very first trial for the Zoom F2 field recorder with its lav mic. Oh, it's too dark. It's a little dark in the house right now. But I thought it sounded pretty darn good, whether the face shield was open or if it was closed. The cool thing about it was exactly what I thought. The mic from the Hero with the media mod was based on a chin mount, and that was picking up the motorcycle. And this lav mic, which I had mounted right inside the helmet, was picking up my voice and hardly the bike at all. So that worked out really well. In that really long-winded video, if you watch the whole thing or not, there were a few times where I wasn't talking, so I bumped up the noise of the motor and then bumped it back down when I was talking. I didn't do a lot of processing to it because I wanted to just hear how it sounded normally. So I did pull the vocal track into Adobe Audition, and I just normalized it and, you know, made sure it wasn't clipping anywhere, which it really wasn't. You know, there's a few times where it got real close, but not so bad. So I basically left it as is without doing too much. A few things that I have heard about this, which is true. One is that you can't format the SD card on the device itself. You have to do that through your computer or Mac. I have a Mac, so I had to download the software that does simple things like you'll be able to update the firmware on this, and you can reformat the card, the SD card, that way. That's the only way you can do it. So you can't get anything off here unless you have that downloaded to your Mac. So every time you use this, unless you have like a enormous gigabyte SD card in here, you're definitely going to want to pull the information off and then format this before you get this back off the computer. But for 150 bucks, that sounded pretty good to me. I mean, you could absolutely get a newer, probably a better mic to go along with this. It does allow for, you know, various mics, and it does have, I believe it has phantom power. It has power for certain mics. But this works pretty good just as is. And, you know, at that price point, I just broke it. No, I'm just kidding. At that price point, maybe I'd get another one for Kelly to wear if she wanted to do that, and then we could have conversations with the Cardo, and we could also record it, and maybe that'll enhance some of the longer trips that we do. And so as far as ruggedness, this doesn't feel like the most rugged bit of equipment that I have from Zoom, although it is extremely pocket worthy, and I wasn't worried about it. Like, I set it, I locked it so that nothing happened. There's no adjustment that I made anywhere for any audio. I just set it, locked it, and forget it, threw it in my pocket, and then went on my ride, and that was it. And you basically heard exactly the way it was coming through. So, I don't know, all in all, I think this is the best thing I've used so far. And, yeah, I don't know. Definitely going to be using it every time I go out when I have the full face on. And we'll see what kind of adventures we have and what kind of audio we have with that. Again, it's the Zoom F2. There's a Bluetooth version as well. You can go check it out at the Zoom Corp website. Just Google it. And I don't know. Hope that enhances your riding or vlogging if that's what you're doing. As far as what I'm doing, I have no idea. All I know is that Kelly and I are having a blast, and we love the bikes, and we have a whole list of places planned that we're going to actually head out once we've got everything dialed in, and we're looking forward to putting those shows together. So thanks for watching, and have a good one.